Hello, and welcome to the Hypno Godmother Show. Yes, I'm so glad that you found me today. I am Shirley Yentz, clinical hypnotherapist, advocate, and mental health first responder here at Whispering Zen Hypnotherapy and Wellness. Yes, and I am so glad that you found me today. Do you wish you could more freely enjoy a new healthy habit or get back to feeling like the old you? Then this is a good time for us to talk. I am telling you. And although I do specialize working with the LGBTQIA community, I love and I work and I welcome everybody. So no matter who you are, who you want to be, who you think you might be, or who you wish to become, I am the person to talk to, so I am here to help you. And you can always make an appointment on whisperingzenhypnotherapy.com or contact me on any of my social media sites. Just look for Hypno Godmother because that's where I'll be. And I do respond to everybody. So don't worry about it. You're not bothering me. I love helping people. I love working with people. Hopefully, maybe you, who knows? So I hope that, everything's going okay. And before we get going today, we're going to start out the show like we always start out the show. So I need to make sure that you are all in a wonderful, wonderful, safe place, a great safe place where you're not driving, you're not working on any heavy machinery, you're not working on a project you should be working on. So don't get in trouble with bosses or family or whatever you're supposed to be paying attention to. You can always recatch my show because not only am I live, like now, but you can always find my shows on my Facebook page and on my YouTube page. So, depending on where you're finding me, and if you are finding me on my YouTube page, a like and subscribe would be fabulous. Depending on where you're finding me, just let me know. I would love to know where everybody is finding me from. So, anyway, let's get back to the nice, safe place. And what I want you to do is, I want you to take a wonderful deep breath, hold it in, and exhale with a smile, because that's what we need to do. We need to slow down our breathing, and we need to realize that it's okay to breathe. It's okay to let, everything just relax. Just completely relax. That's what we want to do. Now, the next thing I want you to do is I want you to wiggle those toes. Yep, wiggle your toes. Inside your shoes, outside of your shoes, I don't really care because today, we had kind of a rainy, stormy day today. So I am actually in my socks instead of just barefooting because the tootsies got a little cold today. So wiggle those toes. Let them go. Let them go. Let them go. Let them get going. Okay, now next step. Where we're going to wiggle our butt. I was already wiggling my butt because I couldn't wait. So I'm just wiggling my butt. Squeezing those cheeks. Get it together. Come on. Come on. You know this is your favorite thing to do in the day because it makes you laugh because you're hoping that nobody's watching you while you're wiggling your butt. And you don't want to just walk up to somebody and go, you know what? I know what would help you relax. Wiggle your butt. Yeah, it's okay. You should try it. It'll really throw people off and it'll make them laugh. And you can start with the wiggle your toes part, but sometimes you just want to go straight to wiggle your butt. Why not? What the heck? The next thing I want you to do is I want you to take one more nice deep breath and exhale and give yourself an affirmation. I got this. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. Whatever you need to do to tell yourself to get through the rest of the day or the rest of the week, or in some cases, the rest of the hour, whatever it is that you need to do to keep yourself going and keep ourselves moving. And that's what we want to do. So, nice deep breaths. We're wiggling everything. We're moving our legs, moving our core, shoulders, neck. Oh, yeah. Get the body moving. Get the blood circulating. Let your arms flow. You could be one of those weird windsock people. Whatever it is that makes you laugh. Just to get everything going and breathing and, feeling like you're ready for today. So it's interesting today because I had a couple different shows in mind and have a little distraction in my house, a little 3 pound distraction in my house since we have a puppy. So while I'm doing the show locked inside my office, who knows what anarchy and chaos is happening in the other room. So yeah, um, all we can do, that's why I'm saying a happy affirmation. Today, my affirmation is please, please just be calm for an hour. It's not going to happen. And I did put the older dog in charge. But we'll just see how this goes and hope that for the next hour, we have less anarchy and chaos in my front room than we actually do in the world going on right now. So I think that that's a wonderful way that we should get things started. Just knowing that I always tell you to do things to make your soul happy. Do things to make your soul happy. I mean, we have other things that we need to take care of, but you need sometimes to make your soul smile. And as it turns out, this little thing, making my soul smile. You know, we've got the chaos and the upheaval and all the other things that go with it. But honestly, sometimes just getting that little puppy's breath and that little puppy smell, it's kind of what you need to just make your whole soul smile. So, when I tell you to do something to make your soul smile, I'm not telling you to go get a dog or a cat or an animal or something like that. It's just in this case sometimes, and I know people that actually go and to the shelters, the local animal shelters, and they'll spend time. You can volunteer to just take them for walks or just go sit with them. I know I've seen programs where school kids go and read to animals in the shelters, and it helps everybody. It's doing kind of one of those acts of kindness. If you don't have room for an animal, or you're just not really ready for it, or da da da, but you still really like them, maybe that's something that you could do, is volunteer to go to a shelter and, you know, play with puppies and kitties for a little while. If they need stimulation, they need to know that somebody's caring about them. So, you know, one of those fun little things that happened this week that, like I said, I got 2 dogs and a bird out there, and we're just hoping that by the time I get done with my show, we don't have pure anarchy. You know? Boy, if that's not a affirmation. Take a deep breath and breathe in. And as you're exhaling, please no anarchy in my front room. You know. But there's some other things that we need to talk about because, this sort of has something to do with what we were talking about last week. But it seems that in Florida, the governor of Florida signed the Don't Say Gay bill. And I was telling you to get involved and talk to your senators and your congresspeople because there are laws like this going on everywhere. And now that it's official in Florida, it's going to make it harder for our gay kids and our LGBTIA community, especially our trans kids. It's going to make it harder for straight kids that have gay parents. It's going to make it harder for teachers. It's going to make it harder for everybody. And they're calling it a parental freedom, but we know exactly what they mean. So then now is not the time to give up. Even though that this bill has been signed into law, you can still do everything that we talked about before about contacting your local congresspeople, senators. Find out what's happening. We tend to get wrapped up in the global, what's happening globally, which is frightening enough that sometimes we forget to find out what's happening in our own backyard. There are laws like this in 30 states right now, or close to it, and we need to protect our kids. Talk about mental health. We need to protect the mental health of our kids. And whether they're your biological kids, whether you just think of them as emotional kids, they're somebody else's kids, they're still kids. And they're still kids that have issues and they need to talk to people. And with laws like this, they're basically not allowed to talk to people. They're not allowed to go to their counselors. They're not allowed to go to their teachers. They're not allowed to go and experience it. And one of the funny things is that they're afraid, these people are afraid that if your child hears about it, sees about it, reads about it, whatever, about being part of the LGBTQIA community, what happens is that's going to make them gay. Well, on a side note, I grew up watching straight people reading straight books. There was never a gay character in anything that I ever read or saw. And they were all straight all the time. And trust me, it didn't matter. All the straightness that you could cram down my throat didn't happen. So look at it as it's not, they tried to talk about indoctrination. No, no. Knowledge is not indoctrination. So we need to protect our kids. And even though this horrible Florida law has been signed in, don't give up hope. Don't, don't do any of that. So I needed to throw that in because, now that it's happened, you know, so I'll get off of that bandwagon now. But since it was signed into law this morning, it really felt important to me, because I talk about mental health and I want to talk about the mental health of every person. When I take clients, I don't ask you what your orientation is. I help people because they have an issue. It could be something as common, not in a bad way, but as common as anxiety, stress, nervousness, things like that, or it could be something huge. And I don't go off of the person's orientation. I go off of how can I help you and how can I help your mental health? How can I help everything going? How can I help you be the person that you want to be? Help you be a better person or be that person that you want to be. I always like to say that you can come as you are, but leave as you want to be, you know? At any time that people take that out of your hands, no matter who it is, if somebody else is taking out of your hands things that would help you, then that's not right. That's absolutely not right. So, I worry about everybody's mental health. I worry about my mental health. I worry about, but I worry about kids the most. Kids are growing and developing and they're trying to figure out, and you know when I give you things that you can do for your mental health and the little tips and tricks and things like that I give you, those aren't just for you. If you know somebody else that can benefit from them, if you know grade school kids, junior high school, whatever, that can also help from these. I taught a group of high school students for a year on what they could do to help decrease their stress while taking tests and while studying and things that were happening in their lives. And it's important that we let our kids know that we have their back. And if you've got somebody that's a little more stressed out, or somebody, it could be a coworker, it could be a partner, it could be a child that can use a little extra help. I'm forever teaching people how to breathe. I'm forever teaching people how to do the self-compassion pause and the 4-3-2-1s and all the little things that we do. And I want, because I know how important it is. I know just how important it is that we all feel like people are hearing us and it matters, and that, that there's somebody there for you. And if you can be that person for someone else, Or you can, do you feel like you want to help somebody on a one-on-one? Do you feel like you could handle a group? Do you feel like you could just handle, whatever? Just to let somebody know that you care and that you're listening. I like to ask people that want to talk to me. I'm always like, do you want advice or do you just want somebody to listen? Because sometimes people need to vent and they need to get things out, but they don't want your advice. You may think that they want your advice. They don't always want your advice. Sometimes you just need to vent. Sometimes you just need to get it all out there, spoken out loud to the universe. And, and then you feel better. Don't keep stuff locked in. When somebody asks you how you're doing, our first reaction is to tell them, I'm fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. You don't have to be fine all the time. You don't have to be brave and strong all the time. I always tell you, you're allowed to have bad days when you need to. We're all allowed to have bad days. It's interesting how sometimes when you're having a bad day and somebody will go, oh, does that mean that you missed some, my biggest pet peeve is when, somebody asks, does that mean that, you missed your meds? Does that mean that what happened? What happened? Well, sometimes nothing happens. You just don't feel good. You just want to have a bad day. You want to have a whatever kind of a day. That's fine. Do what you need to do for you. Do what you need to do for you. And, there are so many different categories of self-care and mental care. There's physical care, there's psychological self-care, there's emotional self-care, social self-care, professional self-care, environmental self-care, spiritual self-care, which spirituality runs the gambit of whatever that means to you. And even financial self-care. They all have to do with your mental health. They all have to do with you taking care of you. With physical self-care. It's something as small as getting outside and going for a walk. Taking a long hot bath. Sleeping, getting enough sleep. We rarely get enough sleep. People think that sleep is something that they shouldn't do because things need to get done. I'm guilty of that, by the way. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Um, Sometimes physical self-care is making sure that you eat healthy. That it's not all, you know, processed foods and going through drive-throughs. Um, One of the hardest things for me, since I don't like to cook and I don't do it well, is making sure that on occasion I just make myself do it. You know, um, even if you're not great, when I say go out and take a walk, I'm not talking about run a half mile. I'm not talking about do a marathon. I'm talking about go take a walk, get some air, get some sunlight. If you do have an animal, take them for a walk with you. They also need sunlight and air and everything else. You know, you're allowed to. You are allowed to do things that are good for you. The most important thing is making sure that you're taking care of you first. And it's not easy because sometimes you have to tell other people no. Sometimes you gotta tell other people no so that you can feel the best you. And, you know, that's also under psychological self care, practicing mindfulness, being in the moment. It's hard to be in the moment. When I say mindfulness, people sometimes roll their eyes because it seemed like it was the big catchphrase. But there is actual science behind mindfulness because we spend so much time thinking about what should have happened, what might happen, what could happen, what didn't happen, that we forgot to think about now. One of the interesting things is that, like, when you go on any type of vacation, do you spend all of your time taking pictures so that you can remember it later? Or do you actually spend time feeling it, experiencing it, being there in the moment? Don't worry about, your memories. You will have those memories. You don't need to take 500 pictures. You need to be there. And that's so good. And that's part of your mindfulness. That's part of the exercises that we go through. That's part of all of that. Sit down and read a book. You know, books can take you anywhere. So, one of the things is, if you sit and you read a book, they can take you everywhere. They can take you anywhere. Listen to a podcast while you're taking your walk. Whatever you do, do not listen to the news, because then we go back to doom scrolling, and that is not good for your psychological health. Learning a new skill is great for your psychological self-care. I've been working on something since November, and I'm still trying to figure this thing out. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to quit learning, and that doesn't mean that I'm not going to stop. When we learn a new skill, it makes your brain start to work, and it makes your brain start to think about other things, and that's totally awesome. you know Doing that that digital unplugging, the digital detox, the you know turn off your phone, turn on some music, dance around the house being all crazy. I don't see why not. It's your house, it's your place. I dance around like a crazy person all the time. Put on some music, dance around, you know. And honestly, that's good for your physical self-care and your emotional self-care, your psychological self-care. Because you know what? You're relaxing, you're getting your body worked out, you're getting your blood flowing. You know, it is everything all in one. And the nice thing is, you don't have to be good at it. You do not have to be a professional dancer to be dancing around your house like a crazy human. Even if you're doing the white boy, does not matter. You're moving. Throw in a couple mamba steps here and there, a little salsa. You're going to be doing great. Great things. Think about your emotions. Log them down. Figure out what's triggering you. These are things great. Absolutely great for your mental health. Apparently, my mental health is a little taxed right now, so forgive me for the yawn. Think about your emotional self-care. Your daily mood tracker. We've talked about the daily mood tracker before. If you're one of those people that loves lists and loves categories and spreadsheets and things like that, mark down your moods. You can do it in emoji form. There are emojis for everything. It's great. All you have to do, make the spreadsheet. Fill in the emojis. And then keep track of it. And maybe if you've got a little extra room on your spreadsheet, write down maybe why you were feeling that emotion. Woke up today, was doing okay. In the middle of the day went to crap. Why did the day go to crap? Was there a person that did that? Was there an incident that did that? Was there a thought that did that? Keep track of these things, because what it does for your emotional self-care is that it makes you aware. And what's funny is that when you look at these spreadsheets and you look at these things and you've been marking them down, You can even do it in a little hand calendar. Slap that emoji on there, put a smiley face, a sad face, an angry face, whatever, and look at it and go, sometimes the best things for some people is realizing that they're just like everybody else. We all have stress, we all have problems. It's okay. It's okay. And if you're dealing with anger management, see if by keeping track of these things and by making note of what's going on and making note of how you're handling it, it can actually help with that. It can actually help. Because that's what it's about. That's what all of this is about. It's about making sure that your mental health is in good order, that things are going fine, that things are, running into normal. Obviously, I did not get that much sleep the last few days, and it is dragging on me emotionally. It is dragging on me psychologically. When you have a disruption in your house, like we have a new disruption in our house, of a little thing that likes to get up, way earlier than you would have wanted to. But, it's okay. Sometimes you just have to deal with, how do I deal with it? Well, when the little thing is taking a nap, then, nothing says I can't close my eyes for 5 minutes too. Because trust me, it's really hard to type and it's really hard to do things. So I'm having to deal with my emotional and psychological health along with my physical health, because physical health is getting enough sleep, which not happening. But, it's okay, like I said, and sometimes you just have to say no to things. Sometimes you just have to say no to things. There was something I really wanted to do this weekend. But due to a couple circumstances, and one of them being the new little puppy, but part of it being a couple other things that were going on, I had to say no. And I didn't want to say no, and I didn't want to back out, and I felt really conflicted. But I knew that the best possible thing that I could do for me physically and emotionally and psychologically, in this case, all three of the big ones, was for me to say, no, I can't do it. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to say no forever. It's just this particular event was a no-go for me, and I had to think about it, and I had to run it over and, reflect on my emotions and my feelings and deal with how I was actually feeling about it, because I was really conflicted. But I had to go back and practice my self-compassion and do my self-compassion pause. I had to ask myself how I was doing a couple times, because I was really torn. And a couple things happened at that event that I would have loved to have been there. But again, I had to say no for me. I had to say no for a couple things that were happening that I knew the best course of action for me was for me not to go. And sometimes when we really want to do something and we really feel compelled to do something and we set our mind to it and then something comes up, it's hard because you got to deal with it. And it was a little depressing. And so I had to take the time to figure out and tell myself that it was okay. It was okay to be depressed. It was okay to feel sad I couldn't go. It was okay to feel aggravated. It was okay to feel jealous of the people that did get to go. But it's how we take care of ourselves. And sometimes saying no, like I said, can be the most amazing, earth-shattering thing you ever get to do, whether it's positive or negative. sometimes just saying the word and, it's going to bring up other emotions. It's hard because when we're little, you know, we know what the word means because usually it's used in a disciplinary thing. But sometimes it's just that whole, little kids will tell you, no, no, I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to be here. No, I don't. And then we grow out of it as we get older. And sometimes you got to relearn the word no. Trust me, it's not the easiest thing in the world. But sometimes for you, it's okay. Sometimes you got to step back and take control. And if taking control means saying no, then that's what you have to do. Sometimes saying yes does more damage than saying no does. Sometimes saying yes to whatever it is can do more harm to you mentally and emotionally just because we want to pacify someone or pacify something that we just can't do it to ourselves. Um, when you're dealing with social self-care, having a supportive group with you and a network of different relationships, whether it be the family that you were born with or the family that you make afterwards, just people around you that you can trust and turn to. We all need these kind of people, and we don't have to live with them. We don't have to see them every day, every week, every month, but we know that they're there. Those are probably the most important things and the most important people for your mental health. And you want to surround yourself with positive people. We all have that one friend that is like an emotional black hole that will suck the life and all the energy out of you. We keep those people to a minimum. And those sometimes are the first people that we have to say no to. Because a lot of times with those people, they're not great for your social self-care. They're not great for your emotional or mental self-care. Those are just people that we know that we've always known, but we have to deal with. And, but when we make a commitment, do your hardest to stick with it. Now, sometimes you have to say no. Sometimes you have to back out. Sometimes things just aren't right. But you don't want to keep saying yes to going to something, committing to something, and then backing out of it. That never looks good for anybody. It doesn't help you. And then people quit inviting you. And, or they just assume that you're going to say no. So as much as you can, honor those commitments, honor those yeses. Like I said, things came up, this weekend. I had agreed to do something, but 3 things came up and none of the 3 could be helped. None of the 3 could, it was circumstances beyond my control for the most part. So sometimes you have to cancel, but I try not to, even sometimes, and I have to think about it when I have events come up. Do I want to say, yeah, sure, I'll do it, and then regret that later? So, it's okay to not give people immediate answers when they ask you to do something too. Maybe it's time you go out and meet new people. It's the scariest thing. It's absolutely scary when you're forced to meet new people. Now, some people are really good people. They get along with everybody. They'll talk to anybody. They're just little social butterflies and they're great and they never have a problem meeting new people. There's nobody they've ever met that isn't a friend automatically. They're just those kind of people. And then there are people like me and some other people that I kind of call us slow rollers, because what happens is you meet this person, a new person, whether accidentally or on purpose. You can meet people either way, and you're kind of You got your walls. You got your walls. You back up just a little bit. But then you slowly, if they earn your trust and you start to feel safe with them, and then you build that relationship. So we start out really slow and then we can build into a great relationship. Those are the slow roller friends. And sometimes those relationships last the longest. You know, um, Not everybody that meets the first time gets along great. A couple of my best friends in the world, we started out on first reactions to each other and it was not good. It was so not good. But as I got to know them, now they're my longest, closest friends that I have had since high school. Um, and those are people that, may not have started out with the best situation, but now don't know what I do without them. So it's okay if you're not into going out and meeting and mingling and you're not a social butterfly. Go by how, some people meet each other. And sometimes what you need is sometimes you do need your family. Sometimes you need your family and your friends. And like I said, some of us have, birth families, the people that we've had around our entire lives. And some people have the family that they make. A lot of people, especially in the LGBTQIA community, have closer family groups with people that they are not related to, but accepted them on a whole, and it could be a little community group. It could be, we make family in weird ways. Sometimes you end up being best friends with the friend of a friend. Who knew? Sometimes, but sometimes if you do have a close family, sometimes you need that to just, get out what you're thinking, get out what you're doing. If you live close to your family, sometimes it's a good deal to just, you know, see what they're doing. It's okay. But it's also good that whether it's your emotional or whether it's your blood family, whether it's your other type of family, whatever kind it is, set your boundaries, set your emotional boundaries. You know, a lot of us have to set boundaries with blood relatives. A lot of us have to set boundaries with other people that are part of our extended family. It's okay to set boundaries. It really is. You know, and that goes back to sometimes saying no. It goes back to self-compassion, because sometimes you just cannot handle people. You can handle little bits of people. Maybe the best way to connect with certain people is to, never be with them alone. Always take somebody with you. It's good. It's really good. You know? And there are so many aspects to self care, any type of self care, and they can be challenging. Sometimes just starting to take that walk every day. You keep telling yourself you're going to do it and it just never happens, and you make a million excuses as to why you shouldn't do it, or you can't do it, or you don't have time to do it. Well, get off your buns and do it. But we have to, it can be hard. They say it takes 30 to 60 days to make a habit. Now, whether that habit is meeting people, taking a walk, taking care of yourself emotionally, taking care of yourself physically, social self-care, whatever it is, it's not going to happen overnight. Mental health in any aspect is not something that's going to happen overnight. It's just not. I wish it was. I wish there was a magic pill for all the pills that are out there. Sometimes breathing and meditation are the greatest things, things that you have to do for you. and stop to enjoy the little things during the day, the little funny moments, the little things, the smelling the flowers, the squirrel running past you, you know, the dog running around with a toy that's twice as big as she is. Whatever it is, enjoy that moment. You know, a coworker's weird dad joke, whatever it is, just enjoy those little moments. You read a story and it touched your heart. Good. Enjoy that. Don't feel guilty about it. People talk about guilty pleasures. Just enjoy it. No need to feel guilty. You know, we all have guilty pleasures. We all have those weird shows that we watch that we don't want anybody to know that we're watching. We all have that weird tick or that weird hobby that we only let certain people know that we do. It's okay. It's all right. It's not for anybody else. It's just for you. If you get super stressed out and you don't know whether you can, your brain doesn't automatically think of your self-compassion pause or your breathing techniques. Make sure you have a million stress balls around the house or around your office. You know, make sure you have little stress balls and little sponges if you need to. One of my favorite stress balls in the world, there's two of them that I really love. And one of them is a piece of foam that's like designed to look and painted to look like a rock, that you can just throw against the wall and it's great. And you just, the other one looks like a brick, you know, saves the walls by using foam. But just, get your frustrations out some way if that's what you need to do. And it's the spur of the moment, you know, keep a little stress ball in your pocket. I have this little stress ball. It's about 1.5 inches, maybe. It's probably about 2 inches. And it's shaped like a brain. I don't know why. It's just shaped like a brain. And I've been known to keep it in my pocket so that if I start to feel really stressed out or something starts to trigger an anxiety or whatever, I've got that in there and I can squeeze it. And, whatever it takes, whatever little thing, just, have something with you that, it's not always appropriate in the middle of a meeting or a middle of an event or whatever to pull out a fidget spinner or whatever. So, stress balls, little ones, little things you can grab onto. Sometimes you need those. We always talk about doing your little random acts of kindness. Walk past a coworker and tell them, I really like that blouse on you. Those are a great pair of shoes. Hope you had a good weekend. You don't even have to wait for a response. The idea is not to start a conversation sometimes. The idea is just to say something nice. It perks up their day. If you go get coffee, leave a little extra tip. Go out for drinks, leave a little extra tip. Just something to make somebody's day a little brighter. There's nothing better than, doing our little random acts of kindness. I love doing those. I do it all the time. Nobody even knows who's doing it. Doesn't matter. It made their day. It made mine. All is good. But never, ever forget, if you can, about your deep breathing. We all know how much I go on about the deep breathing. And how when you are doing that breathing and you are feeling that anxiety, breathe from your core. Get a full deep breath, and you can feel your heart slow down, and you can feel your breathing slow down. It's great. Some people find their zen in yoga or Tai Chi. I have a friend this weekend that went to a goat yoga retreat. Why not? You got yoga, you got goats. You're going to relax. It's at least going to make you laugh. Try something new. Go, that's stepping outside the box, man. Tell me. Going out for goat yoga. If you're going to One of the things that I hear a lot too about is that when you take a vacation or you take sick time, you know, you have that for a reason. When you take a vacation, take it both mentally and physically, you know? Take it both mentally and physically. There's no need to save it up for a rainy day, you know? Use it. If you're sick, stay home and be sick. If you have vacation time, go take your vacation time. Don't have to keep saving it up. It's okay. It's okay to just relax. It's all right. Nobody's going to think bad of you because you relaxed for a week or a day, that you took care of you. None of these things work as a cure. We don't cure anything. But you know what? They help. They totally help. And, when we're dealing with taking care of your mental health and we're taking care of your physical health, but mostly when we're taking care of your mental and emotional health, that's what we want to do. These are the things that we want to do that help out, that help you, you know, um, volunteering somewhere. It's funny because a lot of places have therapy dogs where you don't actually have to own it. You don't have to take it home or anything. Like I said, some people go to shelters and play with kitties and play with puppies. That's great if you have a neighbor or a really good friend. Sometimes you just need that warm puppy kisses. It's weird, you know? And please work on sleep. That as far as mentally and physically, that's one of those things that's really going to help you out. It's one of the things that, when you're dealing with self-care, and we're dealing with self-care today, is that, you know, detach, get away, turn the phone off, turn everything off, set a specific time during the day or at night, whatever, especially at night, set a specific time and go, okay, I'm not going to be on my phone after this time. It's hard because we're so attached to our electronics, but it's okay. Spend that extra time maybe reading a book. Maybe, like I said, we have this weird tendency of watching funny YouTube videos at night because it's something that we do that makes us smile and it makes us laugh. And no matter how stressed the day was, sometimes, you need to laugh. No matter how hard your day was, you need to try to find those little things. Find those wonderful, wonderful little things that make it so that, today was passable. And tell yourself, made it through another day, gonna start again tomorrow. Made it through. When I work on breathing and I take you through the breathing and, you're doing your mindfulness practices, start to notice how everything's changing. I do these things so that we can all relax. If you're doing your breathing and you lose count, or you're doing your breathing and things, kind of these thoughts go in and out, that's fine. Acknowledge them. Go, okay, this is kind of weird, but okay, I can do this. Just shift it back. Shift it back. And that's a great thing. So, and at the end of the day, try to picture in your mind maybe something you did today that makes you proud of how you did today. And it can be something as simple as not spilling coffee on your shirt. Sometimes that's the best I can come up with for how my day went. Well, today I didn't spill food or my coffee all over my clothes. Go me. It's all right. It's okay to do whatever you need to do. So, it's important to keep track of your mental health. Always take note of your mental state. Always take note of your mental state. And if you're starting to slide, please get some help. There's a lot of people out there that care about you, and a lot of things that we can do to help you, make it through that other day. And I want to thank everybody today for listening, because we made it through the next hour. We did it. We made it through. And it has been my pleasure, completely and totally, to be even a small part of your journey. So I hope that today's been calming, maybe a little funny, maybe a little soothing. Maybe you remembered something that maybe I had said before that now clicks in, or now it makes more sense to you. But mostly I hope that wherever you are, you're leaving a little bit closer to who you want to be and who you want to be with. So I am Shirley, clinical hypnotherapist, activist, and mental health first responder here at Whisperings in Hypnotherapy and Wellness. And I love working with my clients, and maybe you can be one of my clients, because we work as a team to find the best thing to get you back to feeling and being a better you. No fear, no stresses. We don't add onto your anxiety, we get rid of it. So, and know that I work online, which is fabulous, because I can be wherever you need me to be. Because wherever you are, there I'm at. Kind of works out great that way. So I realize hypnosis isn't for everybody, because sometimes hypnosis kind of freaks people out a little bit, but that's all right. Maybe we can work together. So once again, thank you for coming. Know that all of my shows are replayed on my Facebook channel and my YouTube channel. You can always find them there. I am Shirley, clinical hypnotherapist at Whisperings in Hypnotherapy and Wellness. You can always book a consultation or get a hold of me one way or the other. Just look for Hypno Fairy Godmother, and I will be there. And like I said, I always answer. I'm always there, and I will always get back to you. But if you want to make a consultation or talk to me about something, that's great. You can always do that also at hypnofairygodmother@yahoo.com if you don't want to go to the website or you can't find it for some reason. It has been my sincere and real pleasure to be here with you today. I'm going to go out now and see if there's been total anarchy in my front room. So remember, we're going to take one more last deep breath. Hold it. And exhale with a smile. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to tell all your friends about the show, because I am here every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific. And I will see you next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.